Hi, my name is Colette Rabba, and I'm with Realty. I'm a residential real estate broker in the GTA West, an income property specialist, and an investor myself. The reason why Araceli and I like to do this show is because we're both investors and we love to give great information to viewers and listeners just like you.
Welcome, everyone. This is Araceli, Transition Wealth Advisor and real estate investor in the US and Canada, helping all of those of you who think that they are behind in their retirement, getting you started with real estate investing and getting you catch up with it. I'm here with my partner, Colette. Colette, can you introduce yourself and tell us what we're talking about? Today's a fun one, I think.
Of course, yes. Hi, everybody. My name is Colette Rabba. I'm a real estate broker in the GTA. And I get questions, well, both of us get questions all the time about real estate, finances, what we should do to have a better future. Should we invest? Should we not invest? So keep them coming. We love the questions. That's why we're here. We love answering your questions for you. And today is kind of funny because I have a funny thing where somebody said to me, well, this house is really good bones, like it says on the listing. And I'm like, oh no, like, why are you should be looking into that. Like, why does it say good bones? Why do those realtors write those little blurbs to entice people to come, or maybe to deter them to not come and see the listing? So that's why we thought it would be really funny, because Halloween's very close too. So buyer beware, boo. What are the things that we should be looking for when you read the listing? So
what it actually means when you have that statement there. So you are not surprised when you get there. So there is 4 things that we just picked today that we're going to talk about it. So the first one is character. It has a good character. So what would you say about that, Colette?
Exactly. So when you see the listing where it says, oh, it's so charming, it's got character. So, this is one of the words where we love to write. And, I might have a problem too, because we just want to entice people to come out and look at the property. So character and charm may mean the house is very small. So don't look at the square footage, but look at how charming and the character of the house. So really, there's something else to be seen aside from how small it is, or there might be some decor choices that the owner has made that might not be your taste, but it's very charming. so that's number one.
I usually think about charming as unusual. Something that you don't see very much.
Or character. Yeah.
So things like that. So that one is the first one, right? Character.
Yeah, exactly.
And the next one is historic charm.
Right. So even though it's an old house, we don't want to say that on the listing. We want to say it's historic and it's charming and it's lovely, and again, it might be small, it might be a little bit odd. Generally speaking, when houses were built, whatever, 100 years ago, let's say, what makes them an old house is usually the basement. Sometimes it's a crawl space. Really old houses, the foundation is made out of stone. So it's really, be ready for that. Be ready to see creaks or to hear creaks in the floor, or the stairs being a little bit crooked, or even if you drive up to the house and you see like, oh, house is a little bit not straight. So things like that. Historic charm sounds much better than it's an old creaky house. So,
I like that. But you know what? Sometimes those historic charming houses are the ones that are going to make you the most money if you are a real estate investor. It's just a matter of converting that into, how can I make it look better or fix that quirk and make it a little bit more modern, and it actually going to add some character.
I love old houses. I have this excitement when I see an old house, not just because it can make me a lot of money as an income property, but because I get to put my own personal touch on it, and I get to modernize it the way I want it modernized. Because when you look at just the history of houses themselves, people
Yeah.
generally don't change stuff. Like, we all need a kitchen, we all need a bathroom, we all need a sleeping, area. So when you think of renovating a house, like, it's kind of surprising how people turn these old houses into amazing properties for the future, and what we can do to give that house a new life instead of tearing it down. So this is just, it depends on what you like. If you can
Yeah.
read through the, between the lines when it says historic charm, be ready for it.
Absolutely. So that is one. Number two. The next one is what happens when you find minor issues.
Yeah. So if the listing says minor issues, they're not going to be minor. The real estate agent, when they're writing that listing, they want to say, we're aware of some issues, but we don't want to be honest and say, you're going to have to spend X number of dollars, because then nobody's going to come out and look at the house. So if you say minor issues, then you will compel somebody to just at least come and take a look. So we're telling you, yes, we're aware of the issues, but come and take a look. So they may not be minor, because how do you know what minor is to me? Maybe
Mhm.
your minor and my minor is completely different. So keep that in mind. So that's
Yeah,
what.
absolutely. But remember, this is also an opportunity if you're an investor to get a really good negotiating power, because now you can say, well, it's going to cost me this much to fix it. And now you can get a much better deal.
Of
So
course. Yeah.
you always have to, like you said, look through, the silver lining and
Yeah.
see what you can find. But we just want to make you aware what it really means.
Yeah, and honestly, if you're working with the real estate agent, you have to be honest with them at the beginning to say, listen, I just want turnkey. I don't want to do anything other than painting. So if you find this listing to say, hey, look, it just says minor issues, I can handle minor issues, that agent, and which I have done with listings that the client finds it for whatever reason, that I bypass it when I look at listings. I bypass it right away, because I know that person can't handle the amount of work. And then they find it some other way, or they go to MLS and they find it themselves and send it to me. I said, hey, do me a favor, use the zoom tool on your computer and look at those pictures more closely, because when you zoom in and you see all those issues, you might be able to see a little bit more when you zoom it in. Maybe there's mold, maybe there's like all these holes in the walls. The key things that make it not minor, technically, if there are photos, you should be able to see and spot those things, even with your untrained eye, let's say. But
Correct.
believe your realtor when they say, I think it's too much for you. So move on, move
Well,
on.
this is one of the things that people need to look into it, because becoming a real estate investor, you need to know yourself, what your
Right.
capabilities, your skills, everything is, because everything can be done, but not everybody's capable of doing everything.
And how
So
much
it
is it going to
has
cost?
money and time. So you have to look at all of these little details, because if you're going to do it, if you know how to do it, it's going to take you time. Do you have the time to do it? Right?
Right. If you don't
So
have the
it's all
time,
of those kind of things.
it'll add to your bottom line. So even if it's just for your own use, all these words are important. And on one hand, you don't want to say, oh, it says minor issues, I don't want to even go see it.
Yeah.
So really be flexible. That's really why we're doing this, because even though you see these funny words on the listing, be flexible. You never know. Maybe it's okay. Maybe it's something like, it's just charming,
Yeah.
but I can live with charming. So,
Yeah,
okay,
for
what's the last
sure.
one?
The last one is good bones.
Yes. Well, see, and it's funny how they all sort of work together, right? So when
Yeah.
you might not see all four of these in one listing. You might see all four in one listing, but good bones means the house might not be renovated to whatever standard you think, but the actual structure of the house is stable. It's good. There's probably no foundation problems. There's no leaking in the basement. But again, these are just words that we use to entice you to come and look. If you have a bungalow, let's say, and somebody says good bones, hopefully that means I can put a second floor on it if I want to do that in the future. So things like that, when you say good bones, okay, let's see what's going on. And really, it's stable, it's not moving, it's in a good area, it's whatever it is, whatever that listing agent wrote it, you have to, it's like a mystery sometimes. You have to go and check it out and
Yep.
see. So, and depends on when the house was built. So there are some eras that they're not my favorite. I would never buy a house built in that era. I want to say it's the last 50 years. Hint, hint. I'm not going to say more than that. But it also, if you have an agent that's aware of building code and when the house was built, things like that, that to me, like, that's why I do why I love selling houses, because I can fill in the questions and answer the questions
Yeah.
in a way to say it's not a mystery. This is what the house is. Take it or leave it. You have information now. What do you want to do with it? So that's it.
So this is it. So basically, this is just a translation.
A little taste. A little taste.
It's
Yes.
just translations of some words that you will see in listings. And if you are a newbie real estate investor, you really need to read in between the lines to see what they actually mean. So that's just it for today. Remember, guys, to subscribe so you can see something like this and ask us more questions for us to be able to give you more information and for you to understand more about real estate investing and finances. So guys, today that's all we have. And thank you so much, Colette, for being here. And
Thank
we'll see you
you.
in the next one.
Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us today. If you'd like more information or if you have any questions, please go to my website at www.coletterabba.com.